what does it mean to, be held accountable? And to be held accountable means, to show up when people expect you to show up, to keep your word, to when you plan to do something, whether it's internally or externally, it's ideally is how are you going into that? How are you leaning into that? So it's a little hot here. Hold on. There we go. Okay, so when it comes to that idea, that concept, a big piece is allowing the energetic side to kind of line up with where your mind wants you to go. And a big part, I think some people represent it as maybe like lack of motivation or a lot of motivation or willpower, and a lot of these concepts, I guess, have a lot of. I feel like the concepts are there for a reason, yet at the same time, it's kind of interesting how the concepts are so heavy and filled with such heavy energetic vibration that it's no wonder that a lot of people fall off that proverbial bandwagon. And so I kind of wanted to hop on here, and I wanted to express on an energetic level, your energy needs to match where your mind is wanting you to go. And if they are mismatched, meaning your energetic field, your energy in general, so like your physical energy as well as your energetic fields are depleted, are exhausted, are in healing mode. I mean, there's a whole host of things that can be happening on that level that will, it's not with purpose that it's going to sabotage, but it's preventing you from getting worse, or it's preventing you from losing more energy, or it's, there is a purpose why. And what's interesting is that as a human going along that journey, it's very, very common, especially when we're not attuned or we're not tuning into that inner space. It's very common for that mind to kind of override the one concept or the one I guess just override those needs, and it kind of will force, or it'll, put pressure on you, or a ton of heavy expectations that can, again, sometimes the beautiful people in our world, they're ultimately trying to work with us, they're trying to work for us, but they can be putting the pressure on that isn't exactly what you need or want, and or it's that outside perspective of, in order to succeed or in order to do something right, it needs to be done in such a way. And I'm here just to kind of bring up that there is a different way to approach these kind of issues within our life, and we'll probably go into that in several different series here. But two, what's maybe even more important is, anything or a huge piece when another person's perspective, or when a past pattern or a past behavior hasn't worked in the past, and it's been repeated, because again, there is this kind of perpetual inner mind where if it's not getting into the creative, if it's not getting into the intuitive, it has a really hard time trying to think up or even make up new solutions. That's where creativity, that's where our intuitive mind, it shines. It's in its glory, is when you come into a problem, and instead of looking at it as a problem, you look at it as a challenge. And these are different word shifts and how we use the words, but they're also powerful. Like, to be able to look at something and say, okay, don't know what the solution is for that, but I'm going to look forward to, tapping into my intuitive and seeing what comes forward. And the more open you are, the more in the free flow you are, the more that intuitive kicks in, and the more it starts to kind of come up with, truly, I mean, even in my own life, in my own story, some of the most random experiences, random actions that it was telling me to take. And when I listened to that, it was incredible where it allowed me to go, and how it started me on the actual path that I was trying to get to at the beginning. So it kind of began to continue that process and led me on the path I was wanting to go in the beginning, instead of the path that I was on that is like kind of meandering, which is not always a bad thing, but meandering. And ultimately it was linking me up with scenarios and situations that were actually felt like they were pulling me backwards. Does that make sense? So what I want to kind of communicate as well is, when you set an intention, it's valuable. It's crucial, in my personal opinion, to make sure that you have the energy and the emotional energy to hold the space for whatever challenge you're undertaking.